use that for everything and anything possible, be it purchasing merchandise, which is what Mall for Africa allows people to do, or even just communication and providing pictures about things that are happening, talking about things, everything from social media. You have Nigeria being one of the top leading countries in the world that's on Facebook, and utilizing resources to the best of their capabilities. So that's something you definitely see out of
Okay.
Africa.
Aubrey?
So for the last 12 years or so, I've been advising companies on investing in the region, and I've had the honor of working for many blue chip American companies, Fortune 50 companies doing business across the region, but also working on behalf of African governments to attract investment in key sectors, and then funds looking to invest in the countries. And one of the changes I've seen over the last decade or so is that, this is kind of coming into the title of the book, The Next Africa, that in the old Africa, the only kind of way to kind of prominence and social power and influence in countries was through government or ties to government in some way, shape, or form. So, traditionally the private sectors were very small and dependent on the public sectors across the region, especially in the smaller countries. Nigeria has always had a pretty robust private sector. But what I've seen in the shift in the last decade is that this rise of the kind of business class that have made their wealth, and they have accumulated their experience in the private sector independent of the public sector. And it's created an alternative kind of route for prestige that really inspires others. It changes the political economy of the country. It creates a whole business constituency for change. And it really is driving in some of the reforms that you see in doing business across the region. And I think that trend is a positive one into the future. So the more we can see young children reading books about, Aliko Dangote rather than the freedom fighter generation, it creates a different path for future growth.
We should say, I was speaking with Aubrey Ruby before the meeting, and you said people are always surprised that you came to Africa without having been an aid worker or a child of a missionary, that there are these presuppositions. You come to Africa as some person bringing charity. And that really isn't your experience at all.
No, I've
this
actually
has
never
been a straight business deal for you.
Yeah, I've never worked for NGOs or for the aid establishment. And it's an assumption that's made even in Washington regularly. And many of them do very good work, but it's